The Chicago Bulls season came to an end last night against the Miami Heat, bringing questions about what's next for this team. AK and Eversley have their work cut out for them in this offseason. What Bulls player is going to come back? Who's going to leave? We're going to talk about that and head coach Billy Donovan and dive into the mailbag right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Right off the top, if you want to follow me, you can do so at CEO Hayes. That's CEO Haize. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at Bulls Central Pod. But last night, the season came to an end, right? The Bulls lost to the Miami Heat in the game that they were in. It was a winnable game by the Chicago Bulls, was that game, and they just did not execute well enough down the stretch. It seemed like they had the momentum in that fourth quarter, right? It seemed like we were going to have another situation in which the Bulls rally and get a win, but Jimmy Butler went into Jimmy Butler mode. Jimmy Butler being one of the best, players once he gets into that area, it's just hard, right? He's a clutch player in that way, and he pushed this team, and we were not able to combat it. It seemed like at one point DeMar DeRozan was going to go into that mode with him, but the Bulls did not execute. Bad fouls down the stretch, dumb decisions down the stretch, everything that it was a microcosm of the Bulls season basically in just that fourth quarter alone. The positives and the negatives of what the Chicago Bulls could be. Even head coach Billy Donovan pulling out Kobe White, quote unquote, and he quoted defense being the reason. And Kobe White has been a damn good defender on top of actually being able to shoot, and Pat Bev has not been able to hit a goddamn thing in his life, right? I kind of understand the P. Will not being in there in the clutch time, but nonetheless, and even Billy Donovan can be so tone deaf at some time. Like, he has these explanations for the things that he does, but then when you look at the game and actually look at the players, it's like, Billy, do you know your players? But everything isn't on Billy. I know you're going to have some Bulls fans that blame it all on Billy, that blame it all on Vooch, that blame it all on Zach. And it was a combination of a few things going into that. The Bulls just did not stand the test well enough. They did not stand up to it. Yes, no bag Billy was still there. Billy Donovan has no coaching bag. He has moments of where it looks like he can do some competent things coaching-wise, but it never sticks for a whole game. Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic were terrible in that game. Let's be clear here. They were both pretty bad over the course of that game. Again, not all on them, but the Bulls fell apart in that stretch of the game and deserved to go home. If they would have played better, they would have deserved to win as well, but it just is what it is. And, this Bulls team has been up and down all season. They were up and down in this game, no less, and it kind of just brought it all together, right? Now the Bulls do move on, right? They have, they will have a pick in the lottery. They have a 1.7 chance, again, of getting the number one overall pick. That fared pretty well for us last time we were there. Don't expect that. We also have an 8% chance to overall keep our pick, right? An 8% chance to do that. But we're having an offseason of questions, right? We know that we have tons of questions that need to be answered on this squad. And those biggest questions are, first, the Bulls free agents. What to do with Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Javonte Green, Pat Bev, and possibly Andre Drummond as well if he decides to opt out. Now, you guys know how I feel about it. I've been pretty consistent with this. I would love to see Nikola Vucevic come back. But if you do bring him back, you need to make other changes around this roster to kind of overcome some of the shortcomings that he has as a player. Kobe White, to me, has earned his contract. Pay that man. Give Kobe White his contract. I tell you what. It's crazy how the Bulls fandom has shifted on Kobe, right? At the trade deadline last season, most Bulls fans thought Kobe was the one and should be the one to be sent out for a big. Now, Kobe has really grown this season, and I do think he's earned a contract, and this should be something to tell guys, this is why you don't give up on young players. Kobe White came back, responded after his first full offseason as an NBA player, and put together his best season. And really, in this game, we should have had Kobe White out there, right? He was playing better than Zach LaVine in this game. Not to, I don't mean to stir up the Zach haters or whatever with that, but he did. Ayo Dosunmu. It's a weird case with Ayo Dosunmu because you look at Ayo and you say, hey, last season you showed so much promise, especially defensively, if nothing else. And then he's regressed in almost every meaningful way this season. And so, if the Bulls can get him on cheap, which they may because of, him and his agent look and survey the field and like, hey, Ayo, you just did not play well this season. What does that do? Javonte Green. Javonte, to me, he's a luxury. I love Javante. I love what he means. He's a Chicago Bulls player. I love how tough he is. But even look, like he hasn't been healthy. He's 29 years old. He'll be 30 going into free agency for the first time. He may be looking to get the most money possible because this is probably his one chance to get maybe not a big deal, but the biggest deal he can in his career. And I don't know if the Bulls are in a position to offer that to him with as much as they need to change on the team. Pat Bev, the questions around Pat Bev, right? It's been a mixed bag. We've clearly played as a better team since we've gotten Pat Bev on this team. I don't think anybody can take away from it. But you still have to ask yourself, like, do you go out and try to find a better upgrade? If you use the career-ending injury exception or the disabled player exception for Lonzo Ball's contract, are you trying to look for an upgrade there? Do you maybe move a DeMar or any other player to try to do that? If Vooch does leave, can you force a signing trade? Not really force, that's not the right word, but can you facilitate a signing trade, get some assets back there to maybe a point guards in that? So there's a bunch of questions. Pat Bev, though, I think it depends on the makeup of your roster. You can run it back with Pat Bev. I think we need other upgrades on that. And then Andre Drummond, who's been so misused on this team, as has Nikola Vucevic. Billy Donovan has misused the bigs overall on this roster. But looking at Andre Drummond, the fact that he led the league, I didn't find this out till last night, led the league in rebounds per minute, but couldn't stay on the court because his coach didn't use him. Yeah, some of that's his fault with foul trouble, some boneheaded things, but overall did not get the minutes I'm sure he was expecting coming into this team either. So Andre Drummond may very well opt out, especially if Vooch does leave in free agency. Andre Drummond opting out would have leverage even if he does end up wanting to return to the Bulls. One of the worst case scenarios is Andre Drummond opts out and Vooch leaves, and there's not the free man, unless you can get Jakob Poeltl, unless you can get a Christian Wood, and even Christian Wood, I'm not big on Christian Wood, so some tough decisions there. And then trading a star. Do you move one of your stars to recoup more assets, be it either draft picks, be it some talent, whatever, to kind of mix up the makeup of this roster? You're looking at Zach or DeMar at that point. Do you move one of those guys to try to improve this roster? Another thing, I can understand the people saying move Zach. He's younger, has a larger contract. You can probably get a lot back for him. But we also have to look at not just stop being prisoners of the moment. When you look at DeMar DeRozan, to me, he's another player whose contract is up at the end of next season. Do you really want to pay a 34-year-old DeMar DeRozan at that point, right? And if not even that, even if the Bulls do want to keep him, if the Bulls don't improve this team enough, who's to say DeMar doesn't up and leave because he wants to try to compete for a title and in the last stretch of what possibly is going to be that for his career? So you have to kind of play the law of averages there. Yes, the AK and Eversley probably going to be taking a lot of calls this offseason. Us, the Hawks, Portland Trailblazers, a couple other teams, really, if we decide to, in any meaningful way, like blow up or go into a rebuild where we get worse for a little while, teams are going to be circling to see what the Bulls are going to do with that talent as well as those other teams. Can the Bulls take advantage of that, right? And then lastly, do the Chicago Bulls prioritize their young players? That's another big question there, right? In looking at potentially bringing Kobe back, looking at Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, who didn't play any at all. I'm not going to throw Marko Simonovic on there because I don't even know what they're doing with Marko Simonovic. But do you, in the moves that you make this offseason, do you try to put these younger players in a situation where you have to lean on them more heavily, where you have to try to force some development, where they're going to get 15 shots per game? Is that one of the goals that you're setting for yourself this offseason? There's tons of big questions around what the Chicago Bulls can, should, or will do this offseason. And we don't really get that long before we get that. Yes, the lottery is going to tell some. We're going to be excited about that because the Bulls have a chance, right? So you're telling me we got a chance. Right? That's the mindset going into that lottery. And so we'll see that. But like, if the Bulls pick does not fall in that top four, if they do not hold on to that, very shortly thereafter, we're going to get, because now with the change of the CBA, Bulls can start negotiating with their own free agents right after the finals end. So if any of these decisions on Kobe, on Vooch, they need to be made, maybe they make them early so that they can get that out the way and inform what they're going to do for the rest of the season. It's going to be a season of change for the Chicago Bulls. It's maybe more meaningful than some are expecting, maybe less meaningful than some are expecting. I know some Bulls fans do have the fear that it's going to be something that AK tries to just run it back the same way again. And I'm not going to act like that's not a possibility. Is it a possibility that happens? Yes, anything is possible. And as we've seen with this front office, they can be stubborn at some time. So, monitoring this offseason, seeing what we're going to do. We're going to be watching it very, very, very closely. You guys know you're going to be tuned in here. You're still getting content every day here with a couple of days off, maybe more off days here and there from the channel, especially when it's slow news. But overall, right now, the Chicago Bulls, they're in evaluation. The front office needs to be evaluating everything. I wish I could say they're evaluating head coach Billy Donovan because No Bag Billy showed his ass again, or did not, because he didn't do shit. But we know that that's probably not happening. So it's really going to be focused on roster overhaul, roster changing, right? Additions, subtractions from the roster. It's going to be probably the focus this offseason. So we'll see what that does, what that means for the Chicago Bulls. Hey, it is what it is, man. But all right, it's Saturday, so you know it's still mailbag day. We got 2 voicemails today. Let's get into this first one. This one's from Auntie.
Hey, what's the word? Is your auntie? Oh, shit. Is your auntie gone? I got shit, so I'm not in the refrigerator. I'm trying to find something to eat before I get drunk. But hey, I don't know what's going on. Everyone for Alex Caruso. The Bulls probably a lot worse than this. Zach LaVine definitely didn't show out. Motherfucker Ayo didn't do a motherfucking thing. Patrick Beverly, I don't know what the fuck he was even on the motherfucking floor for. He's not a starter. He don't need a star. If the Bulls going to keep this bitch, they need to bring his ass off the bench. I don't give a fuck. He come out with the second unit. This bullshit tonight, I don't understand. Why did he play? Billy, your ass got to go. I don't give a fuck. Bev, you can hit the dope. AC, your ass can hit the dope. And Devo, your ass can hit the dope. Hit the motherfucking dope. I'm glad the season over with. I'm tired of watching this goofball Jamal ass shit. I'm tired of watching the bullshitters. Cause what the fuck y'all is, y'all bipolar. Y'all the Chicago bullshitters. Fuck y'all. Have a good motherfucking off season. And I hope the Bulls change this motherfucking team around. I hope some motherfucking numbers get changed. Some feet being moved. I don't give a fuck who they move. I don't give a fuck. Move these players to make this team better. I don't give a fuck who you gotta move. It could be Zach. It could be Vooch, DeMar, AC, Ayo. I don't give a fuck. Move motherfucking bodies around and make this team better. Y'all better not come out with this team next season. I better not see this shit in October. I better see some new faces. I don't give a fuck what type of extension y'all gave Billy. Fuck him and that extension. Him and that extension go hit the motherfucking exit. Y'all can still pay him off. He ain't gotta be the Bulls coach. Still pay that bitch. But he needs to leave Chicago. Take his ass back to OKC somewhere with that bullshit. I don't understand. How the fuck you don't know when to call a timeout, bro? Especially fourth quarter. Billy, you act like you lost. The players lost. Everybody's just the whole fucking United Center confused. Don't know what the fuck they doing on the court. Don't know when to do a rotation. Don't know when to call a timeout. What the fuck are you? Your ass is not even human, bro. You a goofball, your old ass coach. Zach LaVine, you getting paid $215 million. First thing you say, don't talk about your money. Oh, we want to talk about your money because bitch, you ain't did shit tonight. You ain't did shit tonight to earn no $215. Not tonight, not that I've seen. Fuck you. Fuck the Bulls. Fuck everybody.
Goofy Gumdrop Billy. That's what we're calling him this offseason. Goofy Gumdrop Billy. Billy Donovan is absolutely a goof. And yes, there's frustrations over this team. The frustrations over coaching. You didn't go to Andre Drummond. You didn't go to Kobe. You pulled Kobe out when he was balling. Like, it's almost, like I said it in the first segment, Billy Donovan is so tone deaf at times that you just look at it and you're like, bro, you just try to give me some knowledge behind that, and I don't believe nothing. You just, like, you're an idiot. Like, that's in the way his explanations work sometimes. Yeah, he gives them, but it, like I said before, it's like gaslighting. Like, he gives us some explanations, and if you just look at them in the surface level, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But then when you start actually looking at how the game went or looking at player skills, you're like, wait a second, what? And so that's just how it's gone with Billy this season, unfortunately, man. Yes, I have my frustrations over Billy. Io definitely. Patrick Williams has had some of that as well. Zach LaVine making stupid decisions down the stretch. Like, nobody had a perfect game. Maybe the closest to that is maybe Kobe White last night, and maybe Andre Drummond, because in his minutes he was effective, and we retook the lead with Drummond out there. So, but yeah, last night's game sucked, and it sucked to end the season that way. But like I said, it was a perfect microcosm of just how this season has gone for the Chicago Bulls, and it kind of is what it is there, man. Yeah, but, thank you, Auntie. I know you've been frustrated with this team. We're going to continue to monitor this. I know you call them the Chicago bullshitters, and I understand it. And hopefully, just hopefully, AK and Eversley do enough to where we're not feeling this way halfway into the season next season, man. Let's hope. We can hope, right? Keep hope alive. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Shay.
What's up, guys? This is Shay. I've been hearing a lot of people say, oh, we should get rid of Nikola Vucevic, this and that, whatever. But I'm here to tell y'all something. What center are you going to find that's going to give you a double-double every day? What center are you going to find that's going to have good passing abilities when your point guard go out? Now, look, I understand that, Vooch might leave and he might want to do something else, go to another team at this point in his career, but All y'all preaching, y'all want him gone and all that, just remember, y'all wanted Wendell Carter, Larry Marketing, and everybody else gone, but I guarantee you, with the way we lost these games this season, I guarantee you would have loved to have them on your team, especially with what they bring. So those fans are idiots. Anyway, tell me what you think. Peace.
All right, and a lot of Bulls fans do say that they want to see Vooch leave, and like I've said before, right? I can explain it all day. People, you can explain stuff to people, but you can't understand it for them. And some people are just stuck in thinking that it's just Vooch or his defensive limitation. I'm telling you guys, if the Bulls just replace Vooch with just a defensive center that can't still pass, can't still shoot to a degree, right? Then I guarantee your offense is going to be even worse, and we're going to be easier to defend. Like, for example, Drummond has been great, right, in his role. But if Drummond was our starting center over Nikola Vucevic, our offense would stagnate hugely. And that's not an indictment on Drummond. That's just the way that the roster is made up. And especially when you have a player like DeMar DeRozan who operates primarily as a post player and how he gets his points, it's difficult. You have to have a right combination of that. I'm not blaming it all on DeMar either. DeMar is the player that he is. The front office understood that when they built this roster together. That's why roster construction has to be a big focus of this front office. You have to build a roster that makes more sense on the court together. And if you don't do that, you're going to keep running into these simple struggles. Yes, we need more shooting. Yes, we need all these things, but Nikola Vucevic isn't just the problem with the Bulls. And I tell you what, he's still a top 10 center in this league. And if we were just to replace Nikola Vucevic with whoever, whatever, for some people, Boogie Cousins, Dwight Howard, like those type of players, even like a Steven Adams, who I think you mentioned before, Shay, it's going to affect how easy it is to guard this team, right? And I'm not saying you have to replace Vooch with another big that can shoot threes. I think Jakob Poeltl, for example, would be a great replacement for Vooch because he is a better defender. He's a better on-ball defender. He's a better rim protector. He's still a solid enough passer, right, to where you can flow it in your offense. And he still has that jumper where he can stretch it out to about 12 feet, right? 10 to 12 feet. I almost said 15, but I think that may be too far for Jakob Poeltl if I'm being honest. But so those things do play a part, and you have to make up this roster. We saw you guys go out and get pieces. AK and Eversley, from the trade deadline they traded for Vooch to going through that first free agency in which they brought in Caruso, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, you went out and got some pieces. But it didn't seem like you really took that into consideration, how those pieces were going to fit together, right? And you don't always know that. You kind of think maybe coaching, and if we had a better coach, could we get more out of it? That's my thought. But, it is what it is there. But yeah, everything isn't on Nikola Vucevic, and some Bulls fans are just stuck on what he doesn't do. But I tell you what, Vooch doesn't help himself either when he has a game like he had against the Miami Heat in a game that was a win-or-go-home scenario, and we needed more from Vooch. Now, Billy Donovan didn't go to him much either, but, those things do play a part in where Bulls fans sit right now with their ire with when it comes to a player like Nikola Vucevic. I do think the Bulls want to bring Vooch back. Does Vooch want to come back is the biggest question, right? And so we'll see what that ends up turning into for this team in an offseason full of questions and hopefully some meaningful answers for this team coming up. But we'll see. But that's it for today's daily episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Like I told you guys in the live stream, we're not going anywhere. If you guys are worried that the content's going anywhere because the season ended, no, we're not going anywhere. So stay tuned right here. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to be one of the only places giving consistent Bulls content and updates over the summer. Now, the episode's probably going to be shorter just because there's not going to be enough to go over, but we will get you guys an episode primarily every day. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. We're on our way to 12K. I don't know how much we're going to get there with the season ending and stuff. We're 70 away, so hopefully we can get to 12K. We'll have a 12K live stream celebration whenever we do get there. But like I like to end every episode on, man, go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, I guess. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.